Hello, so today I'm going to be trying to fix something different today. Instead of a Furby, we're going to try to fix the walking Bubbly Junior clown. I got this guy online because I thought they looked really cool. I really like clowns, but this guy partially works. He doesn't walk, he doesn't move. You can see on the side of the box it says 2C alkaline batteries required. On the back it's just like styrofoam. I suspect these guys were made in like the 80s. It's like a little jester. He's got two prongs, he's got little pom-poms. He's got very white fluffy hair. See, there's a little like hole right there. That is for this. I like how you can detach it. Snap it in there. Yep. Yeah, it slides. That means you can't get bubbles on the outfit. It's kind of a big clown. Like bigger than a Furby. So right now I do have batteries in him. Turn it around. I don't see any marking on the neck either, so there's not like a year or something. See, it says made in China, and there's an on and off button. Air coming out of his mouth is like really strong. The speaker is actually in the head. It's like on top of his head. I think that's interesting because I had to reglue his hair because it was coming apart, and I saw a speaker on top of the head. And he's a very loud clown. He's clearly not moving the arms or the legs. And he's got this weird stain on the side of his face. It's like crusty. I don't know if it's supposed to be paper. Very weird. I'm gonna try to clean him up. And I don't know the song he plays. I really want to know if you guys know. I'm like really obsessed with the song. I really love the song. I slowed down the song, and it sounds really cool with it slowed down, so I'm probably going to insert like a clip of it here, what it sounds like slowed down. Okay, so you can see he does take C batteries. I got them in there. It's very hard to put the door back on. Yeah. Take this outfit off. It seems really easy to get off. Like you could just slide it off his hands. He smells like expired bubbles. Like his whole outfit just smells. I mean, it's not dirty. You can see it's not dirty. It's really bright in color. But I like how you can take it off. That way I don't have to like brutally cut it off and re-sew it back on later. It makes things a lot more easier. Okay, so this is what the outfit looks like. It's very bright. Some areas it's like really faded, some areas really bright. I think it's been like unbleached in some areas. Some areas are just really bright. Like you can see around his butt area, it's like faded, but then around the side it's like really bright. So I don't know if I can get the original color back, but I could definitely stop it from smelling like expired bubbles. Here he is naked. You can also see there are gears for the legs in here. Oh, you guys can't see it, but further down in here, right about here, there are some gears down there. I'm just going to try to spin these gears with this small little flathead screwdriver, maybe start the motor. There's like this black stuff coming out of him. I think it may be old, like, grease. Maybe it's the old bubbles. Took off his arm. Wait, oh my gosh. I think I might need to have to take him apart just because of how bad he looks on the inside. I'm gonna try to spin the gear. Removed his other arm that way. It just looks like dried up lubricant. Still more screws for me to unscrew. Okay, so I have a lot of screws now, so I'm just gonna put it in my pill packet because I don't want to lose these. We got a lot to work with, don't we? I was spinning It's the motor gear. I honestly don't know if the motor is burnt out because this almost looks like water damage, but I don't think it is because it's not in any other area. So it must be some type of grease or some type of lubricant, but it just doesn't look too good. Honestly, it looks really bad. Chipping away, and it looks as if it's like crusted around the area of the motor. And it's like stopping it from moving. So I'm going to try to get all this stuff out. Cleaned it, it's still not moving. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take some tweezers. I'm going to actually try to physically turn the rod with tweezers. Okay, he's moving. Okay, he's getting stuck though. And it's so well lubricated that the rod's just spinning and the gear's not spinning with it. So the best thing I think I could do to get the gear to spin with the rod is to glue the gear to the rod. Taking the gear out of the rod, that way I could probably clean it and then put it back on, and maybe that does a difference. So to get the gear back on the rod, when I slip the rod back in there, I actually had to use some tweezers to slide it in. You're going to need tweezers to slip the gear back onto the rod because you can't do it with your fingers. It's so tiny in there. Shifting over. And because of it shifting over, that's what's allowing this gear to come out like that and not touch it. Because it keeps shifting over because of how fast the rod is turning and how fast this is going. So, like I said, the best way is, I think, just gluing this gear down to the rod in the place that it's supposed to be. That way it can't shift over and it'll turn. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to be letting his outfit soak in 3 cups of Purex for around 30 minutes to an hour. It has been around an hour, and I just let it kind of sit. So I'm going to turn him on now. Oh, the arm's raising. And the feet are moving. It's been around 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes of me just watching him move to make sure everything goes right before I put him all together. The glue seems to be holding up really well. I was watching it move. This gear, the black gear, shifts between these 2 gears right here. The first gear controls the arms and the second gear controls the legs. I think I realized how to get this thing back in. It took me a little while. These 2 holes right there are 2 screws from the battery case, and these 2 screws hold in it. So all I had to do was just screw it back in. Okay, so yeah, that's how you get it to click back on. You're screwing in the front plate to the back plate. Okay, so now I'm going to screw his arms in. Okay, so I'm going to be trying to fix another bubble blowing clown. This one actually has a flashing face. When I did buy this guy, he was sealed and he had the original bubbles. And it was like right there where that black stuff was. It like leaked out into the box. And the bubbles were like black. So I'm assuming this guy's really old. I had to throw away the bubbles. They were smelling. They didn't even smell like bubbles. You can see on this side, it says it does take C batteries. Now mine does not look like that. Mine does not have this like black color. It's actually just skin tone. So he does not work that well at all. There's a delayed reaction when I turn him on. His face does light up and he does play music. He plays It's a Small World, but he doesn't move the arms and he doesn't move his feet. And this, I can't remember my other clown on here, you could slide it out. This one's not sliding out, so I think that screw undoes it. There is one concern, so like I said, the back piece is not black like the cover art. I'm concerned about this area. It's like cracked. Like I don't know if the gear is split in this area. Or I think he fell maybe. Because like I said, he's brand new in the box. Nobody took him apart before. The gear is spinning. We're definitely gonna have to take him apart because one of the gears is not in the right place. And something is preventing it from actually moving the limbs. So I actually can't get the outfit over this. I'm just gonna take off the arms. So like you could literally see the screw is not in the right hole right there. Okay, so I already see the problem. It's the gear not turning, just like the other one. I guess that this was big thing. There's like some weird gunk on it, but that gunk right there showed me that the bar was turning, but not the gear. Maybe I'm not that experienced with lubricant, but what type of lubricant is green? Like that just looks weird. Okay, so I'm gonna have to glue the gear down to the rod. That way it will move with the rod. Okay, I glued it down. I'm gonna wait around like an hour or 30 minutes. So sometimes you can jumpstart a toy by moving their limbs to work if you move the limbs in the proper way because the gears end up colliding with the motor somehow and it just ends up jumpstarting the motor if you move them. But I think it's interesting because when you move the arm, all it does is move 2 gears. So if no matter how much you move the arm back and forth, it's no way gonna actually affect the motor at all. And same for the legs, and that's why the legs are kind of like stuck, because it's colliding with that black gear. Okay, so I was able to clean his face and wipe it down, and I was able to clean the box. It's a lot more brighter now, the box is, and it's got that shine back to it. Okay, so it's been around 45 minutes. Maybe I should add more glue. What in the world? Why is it? Okay, so I'm gonna test it now. It's been around 3 hours. I just tried to put some glue on the inside of the gear and then slip it on the rod. It's gonna be a little messy, so I can't record the process. Put like glue inside of the gear. And it's still not turning the gear. Okay, so I slid the gear over with some tweezers, and I went back in there to redo the glue. And you can see I think it's a little better. No, it's not. I honestly might try some hot glue. So the super glue actually dried really, really bad and crusty, but you can see it kind of does it, but then it gets stuck again. We'll be trying to put a little dab of hot glue and not coat it all over it, just a little dab at the end. But I'll try to clean this up first, but you can see it can turn the gear. Hopefully this works. I used some hot glue on it. So I tried to re-hot glue it again. So as I was hot gluing, you can see some of the gear actually came off. Okay, so I added some more super glue and I added some lubricant. It looks really well. It may actually work. Okay, so it's now been 31 minutes, and I just kind of let everything sit. You can see when I do turn it completely, complete rotations, it does somewhat move. Okay, so now since the gear is completely glued, the actual motor gear needs to be glued as well, because the motor is spinning. You can kind of see it right where that crease is at. I'm going to put some glue, and I think I'll put it at the end. Okay, so it has been around 30 minutes. I put a little bit of lubricant on it so you could see this glue sadly did not hold, because you can move it. You can move the gears. So I have removed the gear, and I'm going to put some glue on the rod and then just slip back the gear on with some tweezers, and hopefully that gives it a better grip. Okay, so I've re-glued it. You can see the glue, it's very heavy. Okay, so I've tested him now for around 5 minutes. I'm going to turn him on now and see if he does the same thing. Yep. So finally, I'm going to put him back together after 8 hours of working on him. I can't really get this crack to go away, the crease. I have tried snapping it in. I got this screw to actually fit in, and he's not working. Fixing another bubble blowing clown. This one plays the music and the air comes out, but he doesn't move his arms and legs. They included the original bubble solution, and I think it's supposed to be like an African American clown. I've seen one online like this, but it was like a pure white version. And when I mean pure white, I don't mean like skin tone white. I mean like it almost looked like a snowman. When I opened up the lid on this one, there was no seal and the bubbles were yellow. I had to pour it out. I am keeping the container. You can see it says do not drink, but it's like faded away. And sadly, this does not come off. It looks like his hand has been honestly like split before. So it looks like somebody's actually tried to remove this before by force. Still actually don't know the song that he plays. If any of you guys know it, I would love for you to comment it down below because I'm still actually trying to find out what song he plays. Okay, so I got the outfit somewhat off. I can't pull it over this, so I'm just going to remove the arm now. Okay, so you can see the actual motor gear right there is spinning, so the motor is working, but it's not actually touching that gear because it actually came out so far that it's not touching the motor. Okay, so I unscrewed these 3 screws right here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It appears that the rod has actually came out of the hole right there because the gear shifted so far over and it's not even touching the motor. And the motor almost looks like the gear is going to come off as well. This one is actually the most cleanest one that I have. There's not that much lubricant everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to turn them on. Okay, so now I'm going to glue the gear down to the rod. I'm going to wash the outfit. Even though it's very bright in color, it actually really does smell really badly. 30 minutes. I removed the 2 screws. And I'm going to see if I can get this gear off. Yeah, maybe re-glue it. Okay, so I slipped the rod off and I put super glue on the rod and on the end of the gear and then I slipped it on. It's still not moving that well. Okay, so I think I finally got it. Okay, so it's been around another 40 minutes, and I'm gonna test him now. The rod is spinning, but the gear's not spinning. And I have to glue the gear down to the rod. Okay, I'm gonna let it dry now for another 30 minutes. Okay, so I've added some lubricant now. I'm gonna retest him. Okay, so I have him running for around 10 minutes, and I'm going to turn him back on and see if he's still working. Yep, he's still working. So I'm going to put him back together now, even though his gears were a little bit shaky at the beginning. I had him running for 10 minutes. Hopefully when I put him back together, he doesn't stop working because of the pressure being put on the feet, because I'm going to stand him up. The only downfall is I actually can't get this crack to go back together. You can see I had the screw in place, and I keep tightening up the screw. I'm not going to be that worried about it since the outfit is going to be covering it up. It stopped working. I spun the gear right there by taking off his arm. I figured out that I had to loosely screw this arm on. If I screwed it too tight, it would actually mess up the gear.